Billingsley, you claim you alone have shouldered the burden of more than $10,000 in child care expenses, all because the defendant denies paternity of your daughter and refuses to help support her.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're suing Mr. Broadnax for half of those costs in the amount of $5,000 and claim today's paternity results will prove you right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Broadnax, you agree you've not done a single thing for one-year-old Bailey. You argue that it's only because Ms. Billingsley cheated on you and you don't believe you're her daughter's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Billingsley, please explain your lawsuit.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. So my daughter is now 21 months, and I have been taking care of her since day one. For example, for her first birthday, me and Mr. Broadnax had decided that we were going to do her birthday party, and I had decided that we were going to, I'm sorry, just seeing her breaks my heart. I had decided that I was going to take her to the zoo and customize her cake, customize her outfit, everything for her. Go all out and beyond for her. When it came down to the date of ordering those things, Mr. Broadnax went MIA. I couldn't find him, I couldn't get a hold of him. Messages on Facebook, everything you could possibly think of to try to get a hold of him.
Your Honor, tell her.
To go ahead.
You should tell her what I have done, Your Honor.
What he has done for me, Your Honor, is
I'm not
in the beginning of my pregnancy.
That might not be
my
mine,
first
Your Honor.
trimester was
I'm not
very
a deadbeat.
difficult.
I bought her a house. When she told me that she was pregnant, I had got her a house. I got her a car, everything.
Did. And that was the hardest thing for me because I've always worked. I've always supported myself. And when he would tell me those things, I thought he was going to do it, and he did. He did it. In the first trimester of my pregnancy, it became very difficult. I was almost unable to walk. It almost felt like I was paralyzed. He did everything for me.
I would rub her feet. I would rub her stomach. I'd talk to the baby through the stomach. I'd do everything, Your Honor.
He did, absolutely. We planned this baby. She was planned. When it came down to,
Your Honor, she skipped town with my baby, supposedly my child, and she's so quick to skip town.
I did, because of the fact that, one, there was suspicion that he was cheating on me.
There's suspicion she was cheating. Not me. There's suspicion she was cheating. That's why the baby might not.
I'm hearing all these stories about you two planning this baby and being together during the pregnancy. What exactly happened that changed it? There were rumors of cheating?
There was rumors of cheating. I was 3 weeks pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. It was very early in my pregnancy. I found out, I was excited. The first person I called was Mr. Broadnax to share the news because I couldn't have been more happy that I was about to have my family. And then it came down to him moving back and choosing to party constantly. It was constant. And when I realized how constant it had become, I requested it to stop or I was going to leave.
Mr. Broadnax.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you hear her testimony?
Yes.
Is that true?
No, Your Honor.
What happened?
Okay, I'm gonna start from the beginning, okay? All right, we met, and it was just a quick process. We met, started talking, and then she had told me she was pregnant, just like that. It happened, just like that. So when she told me she was pregnant, I wanted to man up, be the father, or just man up. And then what made me start doubting is
and once I had the baby, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything for her after that.
Because it might not be my child. I'm not paying for another man's baby.
So look at that baby. Look at that baby, and you're gonna tell me she's not yours. But there are days that he will deny her, and there's days that he will claim her.
When did you start doubting? Because if you're getting houses and cars and going to doctor's appointments, what changed everything?
I started doubting, Your Honor, when I was just chilling at the house, and then I heard her phone go off. So I picked up her phone, and she was messaging her ex-boyfriend. I seen a message, hey, and I miss you. That's as far as it went, but I miss you. If you're missing your ex, who else you missing? And then, okay, my friend went to college, the same college that she went to, the same school. That's all I told her, go to school. And my friend said he seen her in a circle with like 3, 4 dudes all bubbly, laughing, ha, ha, ha.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that colleges only consisted of females.
But then, okay, but she's all bubbly in front of males and everything. And then when she sees my friend,
Am
she's
I not
just
allowed to
straight
have
face
friends
and walks away.
that are males?
Okay,
Bubbly
okay, but
in front of males.
but if
I
she's
need
texting
more
her
doubt
ex-
than that, Mr. Broadnax.
No, if she's
Bubbly.
texting her
Bubbly
ex,
in front of
bubbly.
males is
no,
not
if
gonna.
she's texting her ex and texting her ex, missing her ex, being flirtatious in front of other dudes,
An ex
who else
that
is she
I-
being who else is she talking to? What?
So, did you ever hear a rumor that she was actually sleeping with someone else?
No, Your Honor, just my dad.
Was she with anyone else, to your knowledge, during the time of conception?
Yes,
Really?
yes. It was just earlier.
What is your
I have-
proof of that?
I have evidence right here, Your Honor, stating
Jerome,
the conception
can I see
dates.
that evidence, please?
Conception dates, mind you, Your Honor, that are an estimated. These are estimated.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
As you can see, her window of conception was between early April, mid-April, from the 10th to the 18th, I believe. And then that's my work schedule. I was out of town from the 6th to the 19th.
You were away for almost 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay. So when you started having doubts, you went to a conception app.
Yes.
And so you entered Bailey's birthday, which is January 5th, 2013. And then when you generated a estimated conception date, it came up as April 10th through the 18th, which was
When I was out of town, Your Honor.
the exact time you were out of town.
Yes, ma'am.
These dates are estimated, Your
And
Honor.
Not only that, Your Honor, okay, so we were together. I've got her house, as I said. About 3-4 months, it started getting rocky. We started arguing a lot. Her claiming I was cheating, me feeling she was cheating. DNA tests, when I brought that up, she would always
That is a lie, Your Honor.
She would always get defensive, just like
That
right
is
now.
a lie.
You
When
see it
he
right
would
now.
request,
She would
no, when
always
he
get
would request the
defensive.
DNA test, I told him absolutely there's no doubt in my mind. Let's go. Let's do
That's
it.
a lie,
So
Your
why-
Honor.
You want
She
to
would
have a
always
DNA
refuse.
test? I'd be more than happy to
So
prove.
Bailey's
Then why haven't
almost
we
a year
had
and
it
a
yet?
half. Why haven't you had a DNA test?
So when I told him to go ahead and request the DNA testing in courts, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't follow through. So why was it that if you're the one who wants a DNA test, why didn't you go request it? I know who my baby's dad is. I know who the father of my child is. I don't need a DNA test. So if you're requesting it, why didn't you go?
Why didn't you go, Mr. Broadnax?
No, Your Honor, she was out of state, and I always told her she never wanted to do a DNA test. I always tell her she'd get defensive.
I have been doing
Why you
this
do this?
on
You
my
haven't
own
even
from
do-
the beginning. I have proof, Your
Because
Honor,
I
that
have
shows
doubts, Your Honor.
I have spent over almost $10,000 on this child alone, being 21 months. That's almost $500 a month. I am 21
and you
years
say
old and
he's
a single
done
mother.
nothing.
He's done
I have.
nothing. When he said he would do it, it was his mom paying.
So your testimony is he's done absolutely nothing for this child.
No, I have proof, Your Honor. I have submitted
see your
pictures to
evidence.
the court showing a few
Okay.
basic items that I have purchased for her.
Thank you.
These are only a few photos of the items I have sent. I have submitted to the court over 75 pictures of proof of the items that I have provided to her.
She told me numerous occasions that the baby is not mine.
That is a lie.
You have never told me the baby
I've
wasn't mine?
never told you that.
Ms. Billingsley, you've never ever, in anger, anything, you've never told him this is not your child.
She's lying, Your Honor. I have a relationship now, and that's when she really wanted the
You have a
DNA test.
relationship, but
Yeah,
he sure didn't have a problem laying me down the other night, did you?
She's lying, Your Honor.
I'm lying.
So you're in a relationship, Mr. Broadnax?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you were intimate with Ms. Billingsley the
No,
other
Your Honor.
night?
No, Your Honor. She just, I guess it's jealousy. I don't know what it is, Your Honor.
Ms. Billingsley, was he intimate with you?
I will take a lie detector test on that one.
If she's my baby, Your Honor, I'm not a deadbeat. I will man up.
Jerome, you think I should send him back for a lie detector test?
The ayes say yes.
Well, all right.
Perfect. Good.
If Bailey is your biological daughter, do you want to try to work things out with Ms. Billingsley?
Man, Your Honor, that's hard because I know we have past conflicts, but if it is my child, I would want to build a family with this woman.
Does your girlfriend know this?
No, Your Honor.
Well, Jerome, I don't think we need a lie detector test now, do we?
Man.
As you can put that in bank and cash it.
I can see it in his eyes.
Yep. How do you feel?
Hurt, lied to, and not trustworthy. I don't trust him. Knowing that he can sit there and have sex with me while he's in a relationship with another woman.
But did you know he was in a relationship with the other woman when you had sex with him?
I did.
Well, then that,
Come on, Your Honor.
I did.
you
Yeah.
know, truth, honesty, they're two-way streets.
Oh, I know.
Trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But if he's willing to do that to her, why doesn't it make me believe that he would do it to me? And he's standing here
Honor,
saying that he wants to be a family.
If we
Then
could work
start
out our
doing something for
conflicts,
your daughter.
if we could work out our conflicts, once we get
What
this
are our
DNA test
conflicts
back,
other than the
and-
fact that you won't take care of your child?
'cause I want the DNA test. I want to know 100%
That's what I'm saying.
sure. And
Other
that's what
than
we're here
that,
for,
what
Your Honor.
conflict is there?
The only way to get past all of these doubts is to get the results. Mr. Broadnax, you have a relationship on the line right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you may, in fact, find out you have a beautiful daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Billingsley,
Yes, Your Honor.
you gave Bailey his last name.
I did. I did.
And is he on the birth certificate? Did he sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor, I've submitted a picture of the birth certificate showing that he is
able
not,
to see her get born or none of that, Your Honor.
because he wasn't there for the birth.
Ms. Billingsley, if he's not her biological father, will you change her name?
Yes.
So is there a chance he's not her biological father? Since we're in court, we might as well go on ahead and tell the truth and shame the devil. That's what I say.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
So there is a chance.
I had doubt at first due to the fact that when he was out of town and we were constantly fighting, I did call somebody and one thing led to another. It was not meant to happen, but it was not in any time frame of the conception date. When I had her, there was no doubt. There is no doubt at all that that child is not his. They look alike. She has traits
But
that
when
he
he
does.
was presenting his calendar of when he worked versus when the conception dates were, you said, your testimony was, and that's just an estimation. Mm-hmm. So when you say you weren't intimate with someone during the window of conception, is that an estimation? That's an honest question.
No, it's not an estimation. It would have been too farther ahead to have had
Your Honor,
her
she only
in
calls for
January.
money. I just want these DNA results. She only calls for money.
I only call for
she's
money
the liar.
for you to.
Well, hold on, Mr.
I'm
Broadnax,
just trying to
before
get to
you
the
get up
bottom of
on
this.
your soapbox and start pontificating.
You ain't innocent.
You just said you wanted to be with her if the baby was yours, so you just leave well enough alone.
No, if we could work out our
Get
problems.
these results, which I have for you. Are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Billingsley v. Broadnax, pertaining to whether Arthur Broadnax is the father of 1-year-old Bailey Broadnax, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Broadnax, you are the father.
Okay, Your Honor, with that being said, I'm
Step
gonna man
up.
up, step up to the plate, and start taking care of my
She
daughter.
needs her father.
But I need time with her, not just money. You need to let her stay with me for time, not just send money.
Listen, before we get to where we go from here, you submitted expenses, child care expenses to the court that totaled $10,444. This court finds that Ms. Billingsley is in fact entitled to half of those child care expenses. However, the maximum this court can order is $5,000. So with that said, judgment for the plaintiff for $5,000. Ms. Adams, you say you're here today regarding a matter of extreme urgency.
Yes.
Now, your son, Mr. Adams, is joining us via satellite from Flint, Michigan, because he's been prohibited by law enforcement from leaving your home state. And you claim he's on the verge of being arrested for back child support, and you're both with us today to prove he's not the father of the defendant's 3-year-old son in an effort to keep him out of jail.
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
Ms. Williams, you say Mr. Adams is indeed your baby's biological father, and you argue his legal issues are his own fault because he never stepped up for his son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams is joining us from WBSF 46, the CW in Flint, Michigan, and we'll hear from you in a moment, sir. So, Ms. Adams, please tell the court why things have gotten to this dire point for both you and your son.
Your Honor, my son is now facing jail because of this situation.
This very moment, you're concerned that he could be arrested for failure to pay child support
Yes.
for a child that both of you have doubts is even his child.
True, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, Your Honor, I can hear you.
All right, so enlighten me on this situation. You were in a relationship with Ms. Williams.
No, I really wouldn't call it no relationship. You know, I met her at a house party. She tried to have sex with me on the first date, so that was a judge of character right there.
But you weren't in a committed relationship.
No, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Williams, when you met Mr. Adams, did you intend this to be a committed relationship?
I mean, no, when we was young at the time, we hooked up on and off, and you know, it just
So it was just an
wasn't-
on and off thing?
Yeah, it was just an on and
so
off
if it
thing.
wasn't committed during that time, were you also sleeping with other men as well?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Without using protection?
Yes.
All right, so the doubts that Mr. Adams and his mother have, they are valid doubts.
It's a possibility. I never, said, oh, you are the father or you gonna take care of this baby or nothing like that.
And yet he's sitting now in Flint, Michigan, nervous that he could be arrested at any point for child support for a child everybody agrees may or may not be his.
I asked him twice to get the DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm hungover. He was giving me excuses, basically. So I took it upon myself to get help with the DNA test. It wasn't for no money at all. I said, I pay for the DNA test myself. You ain't got to come out of pocket. That part is not my fault. But
So take me back. I need to understand these details.
Mm-hmm.
You tell him you're pregnant.
Yes.
What happens?
Me and my ex was still trying to make things work, and we were still messing around. Me and my ex both thought like, oh, you're the father or whatever. So we just went through that whole year. I was pregnant. I didn't mention him about the baby until I found out it wasn't my ex.
So when you got pregnant, you didn't even include Mr. Adams in this equation.
No, I didn't.
You thought it was your ex's. And
Yes,
your ex
yes, I
said,
did.
well, it's mine too. And you all went through this whole process, but then you
Yes.
had a test. It was not your ex's. So immediately then you said it was Mr. Adams.
Yes. I located him and I told him it's a possibility that you may be the father of John.
Okay. But you said, I don't want child support. I don't want any of this. But it got to the point where you needed help. And so you went to the state.
Yes.
And then during that time, you had to name who the potential father could be.
Yes, I did.
And you gave the state his name.
Yes, I did.
And then he was ordered to go to court.
Yes, he was.
Mr. Adams, did you go to court?
No, Your Honor, only due to the fact that I was incarcerated, so I didn't receive any court subpoenas, anything, Your Honor. I was incarcerated.
So you didn't show up that day and you were deemed the father by default. Ms. Adams,
Yes.
tell me how you heard about all of this.
My daughter was kind of close to her. They worked together, and I overheard a conversation on the phone. I guess they were supposed to meet or whatever, and she must have met up with some guys.
That's a lie.
But the other conversation came about in my very own living room while I was in the kitchen. And she and my daughter was talking, and the question came up again, was my son the father of the child? And she said no.
That's
actually.
a lie.
So you heard her say no?
Yes, she said no in my living room. And she's over there talking about it's a lie, and she was in my very own living room when she said it.
I wouldn't have never came to your son. A possibility is a possibility. I never said no, and I never said he was the father.
You said no. Another situation, we was in a department store, and I seen her. She was with a guy. She was around 9 months pregnant. And I asked her to sit down and talk to me for a minute. She said, I'm positive that that's not your son's child.
Did you tell her that, Ms. Williams?
No, that's a lie. She never seen me when I was pregnant.
Yes, I did.
So you don't remember this happening?
Matter of fact, I take that back. I wasn't 9 months pregnant. I was still in the middle of the pregnancy, and that's when I told you when I was with my ex, and I thought it was my ex at the time because I was still messing with my ex. That's what the agreement was between me and my ex at the time.
So you said it's not his.
Yes.
But you understand why this could then make her doubtful.
Yes, I do. First off, when I was dancing, the only person that ever watched my kid when I was dancing was my mom, most of the
You're
time.
You're lying because you said your mother didn't like you and wouldn't watch the child.
I was staying with my mom at the time. My mom would watch my son while I go to work.
So now what are you doing for yourself?
Right now I work at Memorial Hermit in Houston, Texas.
So you have a job?
Yes, I have a job.
And you trying to better yourself?
I'm trying to better myself.
And get your life together for your child?
Yes, I am.
That's what I want to hear. And Mr. Adams, was it your understanding that you may be the father or that you were the father?
Well, Your Honor, after she had her ex-boyfriend tested, she basically was trying to come at me like I was the father.
That's a lie. I said possibility.
She said it was a strong possibility.
You didn't believe that?
No, Your Honor.
Why?
Because first off, she had already told me that the baby wasn't mine. Then she named the baby after her ex-boyfriend.
Right, but Mr. Adams, you hear her testimony. She says she told you it wasn't yours because even though it was a possibility, she and her boyfriend had decided they were going to work it out between the two of them, but then she had the boyfriend tested and the baby wasn't his. So do you understand why she then came to you, or you feel like there's other people in the picture as well?
Well, actually, Your Honor, I do feel like it was other people as well.
What evidence do you have to suggest that?
My mother told me that she talked to Miss Williams and that Miss Williams stated that she had some other guys tested as well.
That was my ex I had tested. There were no other guys, it was just one.
So, Mr. Adams, Miss Williams is claiming that she asked you to take a DNA test.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor, she did.
Why didn't you take it?
His excuse was he had a hangover, he couldn't get up, he was just basically being lazy.
No, my son was in jail. My son was in jail.
No, this was before he had got locked up. I asked him twice.
He was in jail.
Why didn't you take the test,
I had the
Adams?
papers sent to jail to have the DNA testing.
The one time that I couldn't go, I was hungover, I'm not gonna lie, you know. It wasn't being lazy or nothing, I really was hungover. But all the other times that we scheduled dates, she was not present, nowhere to be found, probably off partying or anything, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams, how did you even find out that you were deemed to be the father by default and you had already been placed on child support? How'd you find this out?
At the beginning of this year, I started receiving paperwork telling me that I had to make payments of $99 per month for a child that I haven't even been tested for yet.
She the one made the claim. They said she were in default. She never appeared and she left
I'm not about
town.
to keep going through this with you. I told you I didn't
I
know nothing
have
about
papers right here, Your Honor.
I didn't
Show
know
me the
nothing about
paperwork.
that. Why wouldn't I want to show up to my own DNA test to get my son tested? Why wouldn't I? If I knew about it, I would have showed up.
So now the total arrears are over $1,000.
Over 2,000.
So this situation just keeps escalating and escalating. Mr. Adams, you claim you already spent time in jail for failure to pay support.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened?
Basically, I was walking to the store to get some cigarettes. Police just ran our names. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant. So I gave them my name proud, like, you know, I'm Lassiter Adams. You know, I ain't think I had no warrant. Come to find out, he come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams, you got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what? And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
And how much time did you serve for this?
Like 10 days.
And so all this is going on because you didn't make it to a DNA test because you were hungover?
Yes.
You know,
If he just would have got up and got the DNA test when I asked him, we wouldn't even be going through this.
If she would have known who the father of her child was from jump, having all that sex
I
with
made
all
a
them
mistake.
guys
Yes, I
unprotected,
did, and I'm gonna
including
own
my
up to it.
son,
Yes, I did.
You wouldn't be going
but
through this.
it's a possibility. I had sex with your son, not you.
It don't matter. If that child is the child of my son, it'll be my grandson. And
Right.
I haven't
So don't come at
communicated
me
with
like
the
I
child.
don't know my mistakes. I know my
You
mistakes
don't
and I
know your
own up.
mistakes,
I was
Miss
young
Adams.
then,
I
but
was
I'm
a
grown
single
now.
mother.
Okay, and I'm a
had
single
3
mother.
jobs.
And I'm a
I
single
didn't
mother.
stop stripping
I'm
to
a
get
single.
on
I sure
ABC
did shake
to
my
get
butt. Yes,
income.
I
I had
did.
3
and I took
jobs
care of my
and didn't
son
ask
at the
for
end of
nothing
the
from
day.
their father.
That's
Okay,
all, and
ladies.
I'm worried about my kid.
ladies,
I took care of my kids.
ladies,
And I take care of mine. With or without your son.
I know this is emotional, but I think Ms. Williams has admitted that she knows she made some pretty huge mistakes. And Ms. Adams, I don't think you can make her feel any worse than she feels about herself. You stand in court and don't know who your child's father is. Already had one man tested, asking the next man to get tested, but he too hungover to show up. Now you got a child support case where, look, if he's sitting up there going to jail over a child that's not even his, potentially, that's his fault because he didn't show. But that's not making her feel any better because the truth is she's trying to figure out who her child's father is, not just for her, not just for support, but I'm sure these tears, this is about your child. Am I correct?
This is about my kid. I don't care about how nobody feels. I just want to get this over with. I don't like when people try to make me feel bad about my mistakes or whatever. So what, I did it, but I still was trying to take care of business at the end of the day. It's about my son. It's about my son.
So, Ms. Williams, as you look at Lil John, do you see Mr. Adams?
Just a little bit, but I mean, looks, like I say, it's a possibility. Looks don't mean something sometimes.
So, Ms. Williams, you submitted a picture of your child, baby John, and Mr. Adams about the same age. Do you see a resemblance?
No, I can't see it, Your Honor. To me, he favors his mother.
Do you see it at all, Ms. Williams?
Like I said, looks don't mean anything. Sometimes he do, sometimes he don't.
We definitely have seen that in this courtroom. That's most certainly true. What part of Mr. Williams do you see?
The head, sometimes the facial expressions my son made. I don't know.
Mr. Adams, when you look at baby John, do you see yourself?
I mean, honestly, no, Your Honor, because, you know, I spent time around this child, you know. I think I would feel if he was really my son. You know, I think we had that bond, that connection. You know, I just really ain't feel that, you know.
You felt nothing?
Honestly, no.
So, if you are baby John's biological father, you understand that you are responsible for this support. This is your responsibility.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand, but see, everybody trying to make me out to be the bad guy just because I was hungover one time and missed a DNA test.
I'm not trying to make you the bad guy. Didn't even hear Ms. Williams try to make you a bad guy. What you are is in a bad situation because of bad decisions. And what I want you to learn from this lesson is, when the court calls, you got to answer. And let me really keep it real. Because of your irresponsibility, you've created a situation where you might go to jail if this child turns out to be yours. Jerome, I think we're ready for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Adams v. Williams, pertaining to whether Mr. Adams is the father of 3-year-old John Jones, it has been determined that Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Mr. Adams, you done come to the wrong courtroom clowning. This is not a joke. It's nothing to dance about. It's nothing to laugh about. Your future was on the line because of your bad decisions. Now, you should be ashamed of yourself, not sitting around dancing. What I want to see you do is understand that you don't play with the law on any level. You're a young man and you can have a very bright future if you choose to. Ms. Adams?
Yes.
I know this has been difficult and you've been worried about your child, so now you have at least this piece of information that you can take back to your home state and hopefully approach the court system there and begin to work things through and help your son. And I'm hoping that this lesson that he's learning here will help him in his future to, as I said, to make better choices.
Yes.
And most importantly, to show up when the court calls. Now, with that said, court is adjourned.